Okay, let's get started. Good evening, everyone. Tonight's presentation is about digestion. My name is Elena Jordan. I want to welcome everyone to the call. This is a weekly call that we have every morning at 9 o'clock. Depending on where you are, you may be joining me from in the evening or in the morning, but I want to welcome everyone to the call. So let's get started. Okay, there we go. So we're talking today about healthy digestion. Digestion is one of our most important body functions. And if we're not able to digest our food properly, we really have a lot of problems. And so we want to talk always about rejoining good health and getting back to a healthy state. If you are having difficulty digesting your food, there are many things that you can do to really restore yourself to good digestion. Having said that, everyone has a weak point, and some of you have digestive issues, other of you may have skin issues. When our body becomes weakened for whatever reason, whether it's through stress or too much partying, whatever it is, we each and every one of us have a different system, and it attacks us, let's say, in different ways. For those of you whose weak point is your digestion, I want to congratulate you for joining us on the call today, and also hopefully you'll be able to find a few tips that will help you to improve your digestion overall. So first thing I want to tell you is that the ideas presented today are come from a book called Essential Oils Healthcare for Today, A Beginner's Guide. I like this book because whether you are a beginner or you're helping beginners to begin to use essential oils, this is a great guide for you to get started with. It is the top 50 health issues organized A to Z. Each issue is covered over 2 pages. And recently I've heard it called the LRP book, or the Loyalty Rewards Program book. And the reason it's called that is because each and every issue contains a recommendation for 90 days worth of products, doTERRA products, that you can use to really help you to repair and renew the system that's talked about on those 2 pages. At the end of this presentation, I'll actually go over those 90-day tips with you. And sometimes I add a couple of more tips, I have to admit. This book, I co-authored this book with Carrie Donegan, and we as we do our presentations, we frequently add new products that have just come out from the company. So next up, I want to say thank you to our Blue Diamond team. I think I'm getting it right. Hello, Sandra. How are you? I think you're finally on the right list. So first of all, our Rising Blue Diamonds, as I said, I'm Elena Jordan, Elizabeth Ho, Hong and Shu Lee, Sang Louis, Wen Wei, and Lorinda Walker. Our Rising Diamonds, Karen Johnson and Kat Sri Malati and Denise Schwendeman. And our Rising Platinums, Joyce Lynn, Si Hun, Sandra, Bean Hu Lim, Nicole, Heather, and David. Congratulations to this team. If anyone from this list recommended you to this call, please contact them right afterwards to make sure that you're able to ask any questions, or they can fill any gaps that I've left after the presentation. If you don't know anyone who's on this list, maybe you'll know someone on this list. This is our Rising Golds. Congratulations, Rising Golds. Melanie, Sarita, Bryce, Kakheng, Joyce, Sun Kun, Marie, Jeng Jeng, Agnes, Lydia, Wei, Yok Mei, Anne, Sylvia, Laura, Kathleen, Lee Vern, Hui Hoon, Carmen, Shirley, Allen, Joyce Lynn, Telia, Vinci, and Michelle. Please contact them, or hopefully if you're on this call and you're one of these leaders, you'll contact anyone who you invited to this call. So let's talk first about 7 health tips for healthy digestion. And these are pretty obvious, folks. I always feel like most people know these already, but it always bears repeating. So you want to make sure you get enough fiber in your diet. Make sure you're not eating just mushy foods or no fruits and vegetables. You want to make sure you have enough fiber in your diet. You're getting regular exercise, whether you realize it or not. Moving helps your digestion. So you want to walk, you want to get out and do whatever you can to make your body continue to move. So regular exercise is key. Avoid skipping meals. While sometimes when we're dieting, we think that skipping a meal would be a great thing, or maybe we get busy and we just forget to eat. It actually slows down our digestion because the body begins to think, maybe I'm not going to get any food for a while. And it goes into what we would call starvation mode, thus slowing down the digestion. And that's not something that you want. You're better off eating 3 small meals a day or breaking up your meals so that you're able to eat on a regular basis. So avoid skipping meals if you can. Eat a proper diet. And by proper diet, I mean avoid junk food, a lot of sweets, high alcohol content, anything with a lot of preservatives. Try to eat fresh foods as much as you can. And I'm sure your mom has always told you, eat fresh fruits and vegetables and lean meats and drink lots of water. Mom knows best. And I have to say, even after all these years, my grandmother ate a very, very good diet. And I still remember eating lots of fresh fruits and vegetables in my grandmother's house and in my mom's house when she was still on her own and cooking. Eat slowly. Make sure you chew your food. Don't gulp your food down. When we gulp our food or we yak, talking a lot during our meal, we tend to swallow a lot of air. And air can actually be fatal to our digestion. It can cause us to have to burp during our meal excessively. It can also cause a lot of pain and gastric gases building up in the stomach and in the digestive system. Eat slowly and don't talk too much, at least while you're chewing. Try to chew, swallow, and then talk so that you don't add air into each mouthful of food. Have a sufficient fluid intake. So 2 things about fluids. Number 1 is, as we age, our sense of thirst actually begins to decline. We don't even realize that we're hungry. I see sometimes with my mother, she's, as you know, she's 87 years old. She just forgets to drink because she doesn't really feel hungry. So it doesn't really feel thirsty. And that's not a good thing. We all need water throughout the day. And if you're not drinking water on a regular basis, you may have to set a timer for yourself or carry a water bottle and keep looking at it. If it's still full, that means you didn't drink it. So make sure you're getting sufficient fluid intake. If you are dieting or trying to lose a few pounds, I have heard that 1 ounce of water for every 2 pounds that you weigh, so a 150-pound person would drink approximately 75 ounces of water. And while that sounds like a lot of water, it really isn't if you're trying to lose weight and also hold off your hunger pangs. And last but not least, get some good bacteria. Now, this shows a little yogurt cup. Many yogurts are filled with sugars and other fillers. If you're eating a good plain yogurt, absolutely continue to do so. Or other fermented foods. Fermented foods are fabulous for the digestion. Things like kimchi and pickles and sauerkraut and kvass, which is my own favorite. My dad was Polish, and that's something we ate when I was a kid. You want to make sure that you're getting as much good bacteria as you possibly can. And I'm going to show you a couple of ways to add bacteria into your diet, not necessarily through eating bacterial-rich foods that are filled with enzymes, but in other ways. So here's your 7 tips for healthy digestion. And this is even before you take a look at doTERRA products. So let's get going. So number 1, instead of using any of these, and I know some of you have used these, or at least you've seen them in the local supermarket, or your pharmacy may have these. Everything from Pepto-Bismol on the top left to Beano on the bottom right. There are millions or hundreds of thousands at least of products for digestion. And many people, especially Americans, tend to overeat, and they eat foods that are not good for them, foods that are very highly processed. greasy. We eat on the run. We eat in our cars. And I know this is not just an American problem, because I know that there are lots of, especially in Asia, there are the hawker centers and people run in, sit down and gobble something down, and then they jump up and then run away. So you want to make sure that you're eating with plenty of time, chewing your food enough, and really don't use any of the products on the left. Instead, you want to try something that's easy to use, like Digestion. Digestion is an essential oil that is a blend of essential oils that aids with digestion and also soothes the stomach. And I'm gonna talk about 3 ways that you can actually use the Digestion blend. So let's take a look at this slide first. So in terms of the Digestion blend, you can either rub it on your tummy. You can drink it in a glass of water. I've added peppermint beadlets here. While they're not strictly a digestive product, you can feel free to carry these throughout the day and take one as needed. Peppermint oil, as we know, is very good for digestion. Many people drink peppermint tea. They have a little bit of upset stomach, or otherwise they drink it right after having had a meal, just to aid with digestion. Digestion also comes in soft gels, which is important to know. Many people don't feel comfortable drinking or don't like the taste, perhaps, of Digestion in water, but a Digestion soft gel is a great way to ingest Digestion on a regular basis if you're struggling with digestive support issues, or from time to time. I actually keep mine in my medicine cabinet, and I take it whenever is necessary. So let's go back to all the Digestion products. So Digestion is actually almost like a brand name, and it has many different products, including, starting from the top left, the Digestion essential oil, the soft gels, the Digestion Touch, our Digest Tabs, Digestion Terrazyme, Cleanse and Renew, which is the GX Assist and PB Assist together. You can also use those individually or apart. And finally, Zendocrine Detoxification Complex. Now, this is a lot of products, and I know people will say to me sometimes, when should I use this, or when should I use that? And that's what I want to really dive deeply into today, because I want it to be really clear to you when you should take different products. You don't need to take all these products all the time. And certainly if you're a person who's struggling with digestive issues, you may want to cycle through some of them on a 3 or 4 month basis to make sure that you're getting enough stimulation in your digestive system, but also enough renewal and cleansing so that you can continue to have good and proper digestion. Okay, so let's start first with Digestion Tabs. The Digest Tabs are chewable tablets that combine digestive supporting benefits of Digestion with the stomach acid neutralizing properties of calcium carbonate. Now, if you've ever taken a product, it's so very popular here in the United States. I don't know how much is sold overseas, called Tums. It's basically a natural Tums, which is a chewable calcium carbonate product. Each tablet contains 1/2 drop of proprietary combination of ginger, peppermint, caraway, coriander, and anise essential oils, known to provide soothing support to the gastrointestinal tract. Stomach acid is necessary for digesting foods, but when too much is produced, it can cause digestive issues. So let's say you eat something very spicy or very acidy, perhaps. It has tomato sauce in it or something else that tends to be a little bit acidy, and your stomach now is burbling, and you feel as if you have the remains of your meal still in the esophagus, that kind of burning sensation, which is very unpleasant. Now is the time to take Digestion Tabs. Now, we don't want to take Digestion Tabs with our food, because we want to make sure that we have enough stomach acid to digest our foods. What the calcium carbonate basically does is it kind of neutralizes the stomach acid, which we don't want to do on a regular basis. We only want to do when we have excess stomach acid. So you want to take the Digest Tabs for indigestion at least 1 hour after eating. And if indigestion occurs earlier, take the Digestion soft gels instead. So depending on when your indigestion occurs and what kind of indigestion it is, you may decide to take either the Digest tabs or the Digestion soft gels. Personally, I keep both in my house. I find my kids love the Digest tabs because they're chewable. You can also split the tabs very easily and just chew. For a smaller child, we'll take a half or a quarter. Using the Digest Zen essential oils or the roll-on is also very effective with small children, and we're going to talk about that in a little while. So our next product up is the Terrazyme, and I love this slide because it shows a visual. So on the left-hand side is after 45 minutes with Terrazyme. This is actually instant oatmeal. And on the right-hand side, no Terrazyme added. Now look at the difference between those two cups. On the left side, obviously, the oatmeal is beginning to be digested. It's turning into a liquid, which is what we want, to be able to pass it through the digestive system and have it be absorbed through the digestive tract. On the right-hand side, it almost looks like, when I first saw the slide, I thought it was a sponge or glue. And no, we don't want a sponge or glue in our digestive system. So Terrazyme is a proprietary blend of active whole food enzymes and supporting mineral cofactors that are often deficient in cooked, processed, and preservative-laden foods. Terrazyme's powerful combination of digestive enzymes support the body's constant production of enzymes, critical for healthy biochemical functions throughout the body, including healthy digestion of food nutrients and cellular metabolism of nutrients to energy. Terrazyme includes a variety of whole food enzymes that help with digestion of proteins, fats, complex carbohydrates, sugars, and fibers. So what I love about Terrazyme is actually a couple of things I love about it. Number one is super easy to take, very easy. Once I swallow my Terrazyme, I don't even realize that I've taken it. Sometimes I double take it because I think, oh, did I take it already? I love the fact that you're taking it throughout the day with each of your meals. And enzymes are something that the body produces naturally, but that we tend to actually kill because we eat such a poor diet. At least a Western diet is really full of, as they mention here, processed foods, cooked foods, preservative-laden foods. If you're a person who eats a lot of raw foods and a lot of foods that contain healthy food enzymes, you can actually begin to feel the difference in your digestive system. However, if you are cooking for a family or you work full-time, Terrazyme is a great way for you to add back those enzymes into your system. Okay, now let's talk about GX Assist and PB Assist. So we're jumping around a little bit, but the reason I'm jumping around is I'm kind of following the original list and in the original order. So PB Assist and GX Assist together are what you use to cleanse and restore your digestive tract. The reason we use them together, GX Assist first and then PB Assist, is that we're actually trying to cleanse the digestive tract and then restore the good bacteria into it with the PB Assist. So you want to take it quarterly to promote gastrointestinal health. Now, I'm sure you've seen this chart in many different ways. I kind of like this because it was easy to understand. Step one, you're going to consume 3 capsules per day of GX Assist for 10 days. So that's the little 3 capsule shapes on the top for 10 days. Step two, then you're going to consume 3 capsules a day of PB Assist for 5 days. And then finally, you're going to finish the remaining days of the month with 1 capsule per day of PB Assist. This is an easy way for you to cleanse and restore your digestive tract. And if you're not cleansing and restoring on a regular basis, spring is a great time to do this. I actually like to do a cleanse in the spring and the fall. And certainly when you're taking your GX Assist for your first 10 days, you want to eat foods that are going to positively reinforce your cleansing. This is not the time to eat a chocolate cake. You want to make sure that you're not cleansing during the holidays, perhaps, or other times where you're going to be eating more complicated or fatty foods or foods laden with sugars, because it is not going to be the best thing for you to promote cleansing and restoration of your digestive tract. Wait until the holidays are over. So for me, I celebrated Easter last week. Happy Easter to any of you who celebrated with me. And what I like about GX Assist and PB Assist is I can take it now. I don't have any parties or anything big coming up. My next big celebration, if you will, is my daughter's graduation and my son's confirmation, which are coming up. But I easily have about 15 to 20 days between now and then, maybe more like a month if I count my daughter's graduation. This might be the time for me to cleanse and restore. I could also do it afterwards, so in the summer months. But you want to make sure that you're doing it on a regular basis to really kind of refresh your system. If you are a person, now I've heard from some people who are very small of stature that they need to take less than 3 capsules a day. That's absolutely okay. If you are a person of large stature, you might actually consider taking an extra GX Assist or an extra PB Assist. Certainly the extra PB Assist will be something that will add gastrointestinal flora and good bacteria back into your system. Okay, so now let's talk about Zendocrine. The concept of Zendocrine is that is a cleansing or detoxification complex. And you can see here all of the great, and I had never seen this list presented in exactly this way, of the ingredients in Zendocrine capsules that help you to restore your organs. So for the liver, barberry leaf, milk thistle seed, burdock root, clove bud, dandelion root, garlic, and red clover leaf. To support the kidneys, Turkish rhubarb stem, again burdock root, clove, and dandelion. And for the colon, psyllium seed husk, Turkish rhubarb stem, acacia gum, and marshmallow root. To support the lungs, osha root and safflower petals. And finally, the skin, kelp, milk thistle, burdock, clove, and garlic. For if you do suffer from any complications or stresses on any of these organs, Zendocrine is the complex for you. I take Zendocrine actually on a daily basis and have really found a difference in my energy levels and the way I process my foods. Now, for those of you who are very young, in your 20s and 30s, you may feel that you can take this perhaps one capsule per day, or maybe take it for a week and then let it go. But as you begin to age, if there's anybody on the call who's over the age of 40, this is something that you want to be taking on a daily basis. You want to make sure that you're detoxifying all of your organs so that you're processing your foods properly. All of these organs that you're looking at are all filters that the body has, and the way we filter things that either we are exposed to externally, like the skin, or things that we breathe in, like the lungs, or other things that we ingest, either whether it's liquids or solids. The liver, the kidneys, and the colon are responsible for functioning properly and filtering the foods and everything that comes into our body. We want to make sure that each one of those organs is functioning properly, and Zendocrine is a great way to do that. Okay, now let's talk about PB Assist alone. We talked about it in combination with GX Assist, but probiotics, one of my very favorite things. This is really a product that you want to be taking on a daily basis. So let's look at some of the benefits of probiotics. First of all, what are probiotics? They're bacteria that help maintain the natural balance of organisms, microflora, in the intestines. So an estimated 100 trillion microorganisms, representing more than 500 different species, inhabit every normal, healthy bowel, reducing the growth of harmful bacteria and promoting a healthy digestive system. You can save paper by because if you take probiotics, you reduce antibiotic-associated diarrhea by 64%. So if those of you have taken an antibiotic for whatever reason, and you may have needed that, but you want to definitely refresh and renew your system using a probiotic like PB Assist. You can have a 34% reduction in upper respiratory infections in healthy young adults following 12 weeks of oral administration. Upper respiratory infections were reduced, and they found that this is true also. This was a study that was done with young adults, but also with children. Probiotics plus aloe can reduce reduction in total cholesterol levels and increase in HDL good cholesterol. 2 particular strains of probiotics improve levels of psychological distress, including measures of depression, anger, hostility, anxiety, and problem solving. And immune function following 2 weeks of probiotic supplementation increased immune function by 50%. Oral administration of probiotics has shown to reduce cholesterol levels by as much as 33% in animal and human studies. So for those of you struggling with high cholesterol, now's your time to get out your probiotics. And finally, there are more than 25 different diseases and syndromes, including Alzheimer's, arteriosclerosis, depression, and rheumatism that have been linked to bacterial imbalance. So if there was ever a slide that helped to convince you that you need probiotics every day, really everyone does, I hope this is the slide that helps you. The other thing that I'd like to mention is that children need probiotics too. And while I don't show the PB Assist Junior here, I do take that personally on a regular basis. I actually open up the box and I put it on my kitchen counter, just in a coffee mug. And whoever wants a probiotic can just grab one right out of the mug. Because they're made for children, it's a smaller dose than what's contained in the standard PB Assist. And I always feel like I'd rather have my children taking a PB Assist, or really anyone taking a PB Assist, than eating a candy or a cookie or something sweet. The children's PB Assist has a natural fruity flavor, and it's sort of a sachet, if you will, and you cut off the top of the sachet and you can take it right down. So this is something that you're interested in taking. Consider getting a box, not only a bottle of the PB Assist, but the PB Assist Junior, even if you don't have children in your house. Okay, the last thing I want to mention about probiotics before I move on is that friendly bacteria living in the gut help with digestion of food nutrients, and they prevent the growth of harmful pathogens. You want to train or program your endothelial cells for immune response, and those are the cells that are inside of your digestive tract. So the intestinal microflora that you have can actually begin to train your whole body to be more effective. And it can also begin to repopulate whatever gut bacteria you have that is harmful. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about digestion, and let's look at these 2 specific essential oils, fennel and cardamom, and the action of peristalsis. So peristalsis, first of all, is a series of involuntary wave-like muscle contractions which move food along the digestive tract. So we look at the diagram in the center there. You can see the relaxed muscle at the top, and then a circular muscle that's contracting. And there's a piece or a bolus of food that's moving down through the digestive tract. The side is the longitudinal muscles. And each time you see them coming together, they are contracting to move the food down the tract. And finally, the muscles relax again. So they're basically relaxing and contracting and moving the food along the tract. Both cardamom and fennel can aid with the peristalsis motion. Now, if you're a person who either tends to eat large quantities of food and then eat nothing at all, so we talked about this earlier, skipping meals, or if you are a person who likes to have a feast and then a famine, peristalsis can be slowed down and your digestion is going to be slower. So to aid in digestion and keep the food moving through your system, because that's really what we want. We don't want anything getting stuck. You can apply the cardamom and fennel directly to your lower abdomen, because that's what we're talking about. This is actually part of your intestine. You could also apply it to your esophagus. While the peristaltic motion in your esophagus is less pronounced than it is in the intestine, you want to make sure that your food is moving smoothly throughout your system. So starting at your throat and just applying it down through the center of your body, and then localizing it on your lower abdomen. Keep your food moving through your system. Okay. Let's talk about children and nutrition. So for children, and I know this isn't the clearest slide of all, but I try to tell you where it's coming from. In the fall of 2016, so in one of the more recent issues, and the one, if you look at the upper right, you can actually see the cover of the Living magazine that it came in. They talked about nutritionally inadequate and what's a parent to do. And if you can look on the bottom right, you can see the children's vitamins and the PB Assist that we talked about, and the omegas. So it's a great idea to get children taking supplements early in their lives. I mean, I have to say, thanks to my mom, I think I took vitamins from the time I was a tiny tot, even though it wasn't that popular when I was growing up. And I've stayed a supplement taker throughout my life. I attribute a lot of my good health to having taken supplements. I think I have a good genetic makeup, but the supplements really have helped. And I looked at my family. I feel like a lot of their good health also has been, can be attributed to good nutrition, but also good supplementation. For the littlest ones, do you have a baby or a toddler who is a little bit gassy, or is having some sort of digestive issues, or seems to be having a little bit of reflux or spitting up too much? Consider the Digestion Roll-On, the PB Assist Junior, or cardamom. Now, for baby this small, like the one in the photo, and I know this is Carrie's favorite baby. She often puts this baby in presentations. The Digestion Roll-On and the cardamom can be applied to the feet, the soles of the feet, or it can be diluted with additional fractionated coconut oil and applied right to the belly. You want to make sure that you're diluting it quite a bit when you're talking about a baby that's this small. In terms of the PB Assist Junior, it would be impossible for a baby this small to take a PB Assist Junior. You could probably dot your finger, open up the sachet, dot your finger on the sachet, and add a drop or two to the baby's mouth if you wanted to, but the whole sachet could not be taken. And I would say probably over about the age of 3 or 4 is when you want to start a child taking the PB Assist Junior on a regular basis. Other than that, this baby would probably be nursing. I don't think this baby is more than about a year old, so you want to hope that the baby is being breastfed, but if they were not able to be breastfed, you would be able to give them the Digestion Roll-On, Touch Roll-On, or the cardamom right onto the skin. Okay, some other oils you want to keep in mind. We mentioned peppermint oil before in the peppermint beadlets, but lemon and ginger are two other ones that are stomach soothing and also great for detoxifying. I take lemon in water every day. I know many of you do too, but you want to also remember that lemon essential oil is terrific for digestion. It's not just for detoxification. It really does help us. And as you know, many people drink a glass of lemon juice in water every morning. Make sure that you're adding in your lemon oil. Ginger throughout history has been used for digestion. And essential oil is no different. While I don't take a lot of ginger in water personally, I have to say I love ginger tea. So warm water with maybe a drop of ginger oil or a slice of fresh ginger and the ginger oil is a great way for me to sort of end my day. My mother, on the other hand, drinks ginger throughout the day and really loves it. And I think that's another reason why she stays healthy. Okay, believe it or not, diffusing oils will help with digestion. So if you're a person in general who has digestive issues, consider diffusing Digestion throughout the day. You could also diffuse peppermint or ginger or lemon or your own combination of the three, but Digestion is a quick way for you to feel a little bit better. And as we know, if we apply Digestion to our hands, and then gently cup them over our nose and mouth and breathe in, we instantly begin to feel relief from whatever's troubling us, whether it's some sort of something that we've eaten or just even flu-like symptoms that can upset our stomach. Okay, so let's talk about a 90-day plan. In month 1, I would recommend Digestion soft gels, Digestion essential oil, GX Assist, PB Assist, and lemon essential oil. In month 2, Digestion touch roll-on, so we're getting another delivery system for the Digestion. Again, Digestion essential oil, you should be diffusing it if this is one of your strongest problems. The Digestion tabs, we want to make sure that we're adding in the Digestion tabs to have them in our medicine cabinet in the event of an emergency. And now we begin to just take the PB Assist on a daily basis. We finished the cleanse that we did perhaps in month 1, and now we're taking PB Assist on a regular basis. And finally, adding the Zendocrine capsules for detoxification on a regular basis. And finally, in month 3, we want to start our LLV on a regular basis, if we haven't already, our Terrazyme capsules for good digestion, PB Assist, cardamom, fennel, and ginger, and adding all of those into our regular routine. We want to kind of rotate through different essential oils. I think the body likes to be stimulated in different ways. And if you're not getting a result or the same result that you were getting before from an essential oil, you might try a different one and kind of wake up the body by using a different essential oil. For me, at least, I find that as I cycle through different essential oils, my body stays healthier because I get a variety of plant materials and different stimulus from my digestive system and my other organs. So that's the end of today's presentation. I'm going to actually stop the share, and then I'm going to open it up to questions. Okay, so I know I'm not even going to ask the question because I know all of you have used Digestion on a regular basis, whether you've recommended it, you've taken it internally, you've rubbed it on your own tummy, you've put it on your family's tummy. It's one of those first oils that we get. And if any of you started your journey with doTERRA with a family physician's kit, or now called family essentials kit, you all received a bottle of Digestion. And whether it's your favorite oil or it's one that you keep in your rotation, I know that you're using it on a regular basis. But I want to talk to you about some of those other supplements. So let's do a quick hands up, if you will. How many of you have taken Terrazyme on a regular basis or temporarily? And then I guess this next question is, do you like it? Let's talk about Terrazyme first. Give me a hands up. Anyone who's taken Terrazyme? Okay, not a lot of you. Interesting. Okay, so I want it, for those of you who haven't tried the Terrazyme or didn't raise your hands for whatever reason, Terrazyme is one of those products that you want to add into the rotation on a regular basis if you're having digestive problems. However, if you're young and in general you are healthy and you are eating enzyme-rich foods, it might not be necessary. So, but if you're 35 or older, or you're eating a lot of processed foods, or you're eating on the run, or if you have any sort of digestive problems, I want to encourage you, try a bottle of Terrazyme and add it into your rotation, if only for 30 days. Okay, let's talk about the cleanse. So GX Assist and PB Assist together. How many of you have done the cleanse? Let's get a hands up. Anybody done the cleanse? GX Assist and PB Assist together. So the cleanse was announced, I guess, around a year and a half or 2 years ago. And many people jumped on board and began doing the cleanse. I want to kind of reemphasize that there's a time for doing cleansing and a time for waiting. But the time for cleansing is after your holidays or after your big events have passed. If you haven't cleansed lately and you don't have a big holiday coming up, and you may not, because I know at least in Singapore, children's holidays start in June, so you may have a little, and Chinese New Year is done, Easter has just passed. This may be the time that you have a window to cleanse your system. Please consider using the GX Assist and the PB Assist together. Okay, Digest Zen tabs. Who's used the Digest Zen tabs? Anyone? Digest Zen tabs I love because I feel like they're in addition to the Digest Zen soft gels, and for me at least, okay, so I'm getting a lot more hands with the Digest Zen tabs. Great. I like the fact that Digest Zen tabs are easy to take. Who here has used them with a child? For those of you who put up your hand, anybody use them with a child? You can always split a tab, or you can quarter it if you want, and the child can chew it right up. Sometimes my son just, I don't know, he eats the wrong thing and he eats on the run, and he comes home and then he tells me his stomach is killing him, as he says. And so that's a great time for a Digest Zen tab. Okay, last but not least, actually we have two products. Let's talk about probiotics. When I ask this question, I want every hand to go up, but if you're not using a probiotic, I'm going to actually ask you why not, and I want you to type it into the chats. Okay, so I just got a question. If someone just completed a round of antibiotics, how much PB Assist should the person take a day? And should they take more for a few weeks, then go down to a lower dose? So I would say you could take a PB Assist with every meal. You could even take 2 with every meal. I probably wouldn't go over about 6 a day, but absolutely they could take at least 1 with every meal, so 3 meals a day. And then if they felt they wanted to lower down to say 1 a day or 2 a day, that would be fine too. But absolutely, right after a round of antibiotics, I would make sure that they were taking an additional dose. But I want you to consider, hold on one second. The PB Assist Junior. And I just got this yesterday actually in the mail. It came in my order. What I love about the PB Assist Junior, and I know for those of you who are in Asia, I think you're ordering this now on NFR. I don't know if it's coming as OTG yet. It is a sachet. It looks like this. So I think you can hear that. And then what you would do is, I know you can rip the top off, but I don't know if I always do it. You can snip off the top. And then as you can see, I hope you can see my hand, it's like a little powder that comes out. Can you see the powder? Whoops. You can see it's coming out of the sachet. And then usually I would just eat the powder like this, but if you had a small child, you could dip your finger in and just give them a little bit on the tip of their tongue. It's sort of sweet tasting. It says it has a watermelon flavor. Actually strawberry melon flavor. And I find when I leave these out, the sachets out on my counter, that my kids will take it throughout the day. And even my husband, who doesn't really like to take probiotics, will grab a sachet or 2. I find that because it is slightly sweet tasting, it's a great way to substitute for other sweeter things throughout the day. So if you're a person who loves sweets and has a sweet tooth, instead of perhaps eating a cookie or a chocolate or something else sweet, you might consider just having that PB Assist there and taking one of those throughout the day. Okay, last question. How about Zendocrine? How many of you have taken Zendocrine? Giving me hands up? Okay, so Michelle, I see you're taking a lot of different products. That's terrific. Thank you so much. Thank you, Catherine Wenway. I know you're right in there with Zendocrine and Lang. Zendocrine is one of those products that, again, you want to consider if you're having other sorts of issues throughout your body. If you're a person in general who suffers from eczema, please consider taking the Zendocrine. It's a great way to detoxify your body. Also, the capsules can be opened. They can be thrown into a blender if you're making a high-speed blender. If you're making any sort of a shake, they're a great way to add detoxification elements to your diet on a regular basis. So I'm going to take a look. We've had, whoops, close the chat. So I will be back again next week, and then as we put together our schedule for the upcoming events in June, we'll be announcing what exactly the locations are and the dates of all of our events. In the meantime, we have our 2 winners today will win a doTERRA Touch Digest Zen Roll-On, and our winners today are Nigel Teo and Smurf Sam. Nigel Teo and Smurf Sam. Okay, last question. Let me type it right in here. Hold on. Congratulations. 1 second. Last question. How do we use Zendocrine oil? Okay, good question. I would use Zendocrine oil also as a detoxifier. You can take 2 drops in a capsule at the end of the cycle for having done the cleanse. We didn't talk about cleansing today in great detail. We were talking just about the 2 products that are great to support digestion. There are off-label uses even for GX Assist. I personally use GX Assist if I have a very bad cold or the flu, because I feel like the oregano in it is a great way for me to jumpstart the body. Zendocrine oil is often recommended at the end of a cleanse, 2 drops in a capsule to restart that detoxification process or to keep it going at the end of the cleanse. And we can talk about cleansing at another time. That's the other way that we use the Zendocrine oil in the capsules as well. So thank you so much for having been on the call. We ran a little bit long today, I'm sorry to say, or I hope I gave you some good information. We'll be back again here next Monday at the same time. And I want to wish you a very blessed week. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye now.